Well, the Bucs are back in the win column, and some good news on the injury front. The Cavalry is coming back, and hopefully that means a brighter outlook for the second, or rather, final stretch of the season.
Live from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida, the home of News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. This is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now.
Welcome into the Stream Center here for a new episode of Bucs Bonus. As always, your official Bucs station, the home of your Bucs News Channel 8 here. I am joined with, of course, Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report and also Jeff Dubrof, our Bucs insider here. Unfortunately, Eileen is out for today. She's attending a nice little event. So we'll say, we miss you, Eileen. We'll see you back next week. But for now, you guys, we got some Bucs to talk about. We've got some interesting things happening on the horizon with the injuries, the people coming back in. But really what I want to do is I want to talk about two of maybe the most important names, the biggest names out there for us, which is, of course, Mike Evans and McMillan. So, Scott, first question. When can we expect these two to hit the field?
I think Jalen McMillan, there's an opportunity for him, maybe that Panthers game. You know, it might take a couple weeks for him to kind of get back in the fold. And we've seen this with Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving. They returned to practice. They practiced for a couple weeks, and then they made their appearance on game day. With Mike Evans, though, I think Mike is itching to get back as soon as possible. There's a chance, an outside chance, he might play on Sunday against the Saints. But if he doesn't, I would like to see Mike back for that Falcons game, and so would he. He has more yards, more catches, and more touchdowns against the Falcons, Jeff, than any other team. So I think while J-Mac, because he hasn't played since August in that preseason when he had that injury against the Steelers, it might take him a couple of weeks to ramp up in practice to get more ready to play. I think we're going to see Mike Evans a little sooner.
And my whole thing with it, right, Scott, is I've been saying it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're able to get these two guys back in the fold seemingly before the end of the regular season and hopefully what is a playoff run, that is huge. And Mike Evans, if he can be back this Sunday, get ramped up just a little bit against the Saints before going against the Falcons, great. But if you can just get them back before that Carolina game and be at full strength, you imagine Jalen McMillan, Mike Evans, Tez Johnson, Chris Godwin Jr., and Emeka Egbuka. How are you slowing down those five?
That's right.
That's unbelievable right there. That's huge news.
Right. Obviously, we've had some issues. We've seen that with the passing game, especially a couple of drop passes, not necessarily going to be a problem going forward. But we saw the return of Chris Godwin. We saw the return of Bucky Irving this past week with Arizona. But from the eye test, it looked to me, that looks like the old Chris Godwin, and that looked like Bucky never left the field. I mean, is that what you guys kind of got from watching those two guys return?
Yeah, and for the first three games that Chris Godwin was able to play in week 4 and 5, and then he had the setback with the fibula injury, then he was able to come back against the Rams, just 2 catches for 9 yards. Not really exciting, but boy, we were pretty excited by what Chris was able to do with 3 catches over 20 yards each of those receptions, including a 31-yard catch and run. So it did look like a little bit more like Chris Godwin of old, and that's great news. Sometimes it takes some players a while to ramp up, and it might take Mike Evans at 32 a little bit of time to ramp up and get back into the swing of things. But a guy with some fresh legs like Bucky Irving looked like he didn't miss any time at all, and he'd been out since week 4 in that Eagles game. But Jeff, he really played with some fresh legs. He brought some juice and energy. The Bucs fans couldn't wait to chant the Bucky, Bucky, Bucky chant at Raymond James Stadium. He got that on like a 3-yard carry that converted a third and short situation, but then had a couple of breakout runs, including a 14-yard touchdown that really got the crowd going. But having these guys back as soon as possible helps because they might have to shake off some rust a little bit. But you're right, Jeff, getting Mike Evans back for sure for that Panthers game and maybe sooner, and maybe even Jalen McMillan for that Panthers game. It only helps out Baker Mayfield, who has probably fantasized about this day since training camp, getting all of these weapons on the field at the same time.
When it comes to Bucky, I always think about running backs in 2 ways. There are running backs who are going to make plays based on what they are given, and there are running backs who can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving can make something out of nothing. And I think you forget what that's like, with due respect to the other running backs on the team. And then you see Bucky make a play out of nothing. And you're going, that's what's been missing. And you look, 17 carries for 61 yards. It's not going to be eye-popping. But the fact that he gets into the end zone on the play that he does, and he was moving around in the backfield, and again, making something out of nothing. And when you have a guy who can do that, and as fast as he is, all bets are off, right? And if he can continue to do that, it's just such a dynamic, explosive player to have in the offense, and it just creates mayhem all over the field.
Right, and we're talking about injured Bucs in general. Obviously, Godwin and Bucky coming back, Evans and J-Mac on the horizon. But as you've seen in this video, as we talk about these injured Buccaneers players, that includes guys like Jamel Dean coming back this past week. That includes guys like Bredesen, who missed some time, and includes Hassan Reddick. So really, and maybe even this man right here, Kalijah Kancey, who might have a return on the horizon for the team, assuming that they can make it into the postseason and possibly even a little bit further than that. This is a team that is maybe getting exactly what it needed right as it was kind of down, right? You talk about all of the losses they had in that little stretch, but getting all of these talented players back, I'm certain, obviously, the team will tell you, certainly helps. Now, one guy who I think we really need to kind of focus on is Baker Mayfield, right? Mm-hmm. Baker, obviously, quarterbacks drive your team in this league. But Baker had that injury in the game of the loss against the LA Rams. He still managed to play even, just a week later, despite being in a sling on the sidelines. Is Baker, and not to say that this is a reckless thing, but is Baker playing hurt? Is he playing where it's a concern moving forward that he could re-injure that injury?
I'm not so sure about that. And the fact that he came out of Sunday's game against the Cardinals unscathed is really a good sign. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the team pretty much healthy from that game, except for Tristan Wirfs, who had an oblique injury. He's missed some practice time Wednesday and Thursday, so we'll have to keep an eye on his practice availability on Friday and if he will be able to go on Sunday. That's huge because you're talking about Baker Mayfield. This is his blindside pass protector. So Baker Mayfield had a pretty good outing Sunday in terms of coming away without really taking many hits. The shoulder is on the mend, but all bets are off if Tristan Wirfs is now out there protecting him on Sunday, because the Saints, Jeff, they have a reputation for hurting Baker Mayfield a couple of times in Tampa late in the season, especially last year. So this is a team that will hit you after the whistle. They're a little bit of a cheap shot artist. They don't like the Buccaneers. This has been a role reversal from the New Orleans Saints that used to rule this division. Now the Buccaneers have usurped that title, and they're the bully on the block now. And Todd Bowles is 6-1 against these New Orleans Saints. Their only win coming actually in Tampa in 2023 against the Buccaneers when they had a chance to clinch the division. The Saints played spoilers that day. They're going to try to do that again on Sunday. But you have to worry about Baker Mayfield if Tristan Wirfs isn't out there. So fingers crossed that he's able to practice on Friday and then suit up and play on Sunday.
Yeah, there's a reason that Tristan Wirfs and left tackles all over. If you're an elite left tackle in the NFL, you're getting paid a lot of money. And what worries me about Baker is a couple of things, right? Defenses are going to know, hey, that left shoulder, it's fair game. And I'm not advocating for that, but that is the reality of the situation. That left shoulder, guys, you hit that left shoulder enough, he might be coming out of the game. And you got to be careful. And what I also worry about is Baker forcing the issue a little bit too much, starting to run the ball again, getting hit on that shoulder, and he goes down again. It may not be for a week this time. Baker's a competitor. Do they tell him to rein it in? And this is a New Orleans Saints team that is 2-10. They have eyes on Cabo as opposed to coming to Tampa, I would imagine. Yeah. They're going to play reckless, and as you said, nothing to lose.
Right.
And they're going to try to wreak havoc, and I would be very worried about that left shoulder and just making sure that he plays it safe, especially if Tristan is out this Sunday.
Well, you guys, of course, actually, both of you kind of read my mind, which was my next question. Should we be concerned about Tristan Wirfs and that injury? Which it sounds like we should be. Shifting gears a little bit, I want to talk a little bit more about the offense. One of the things that they were so good at last year was getting off to a quick start, getting off to a hot start. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator, now head coach in Jacksonville, managed to, I think they scored on most of their opening possessions last year. I don't know the exact number offhand. That doesn't really feel like the vibe of this 2025 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, I think they're 23rd in EPA per play in the first quarter, which is not very good. So what is the difference between last year and this year? Is it because of the injuries? Is it the difference between Liam Cohen and Josh Grizzard? Because we saw injuries, especially the wide receiver position last year, but I still feel like they were able to manage those opening game scripts a little bit better. Is that something that they can improve with these injured players coming back?
Yeah, I think the injuries have been the biggest telltale sign difference between Josh Grizzard and Liam Cohen from last year. Now, Liam did have some experience. He called plays at Kentucky for a couple of years in the SEC. I call the SEC NFL Junior because it's the best conference in college football. And when you're at a school like Kentucky and you have to try to manufacture yards and points, being understaffed and undermanned and underwhelmed against the likes of Alabama and Auburn and Georgia and LSU and Tennessee, on a week in, week out basis, it's tough. So Cohen had that advantage in terms of the play calling experience, even at the collegiate level. But then you factor in, too, that outside of literally 2 games for Tristan Wirfs and I think 3 or 4 games for Luke Gedeke, the entire offensive line was pretty healthy last year. That's not going to be the case this year. This team is going to miss Cody Mauch for all but 2 games. We've seen Tristan Wirfs miss the first 3 weeks of the season. Luke Gedeke's missed over 5 games this year. Ben Bredesen's missed some time. Graham Barton has been the lone starter every week, but some of those starts have been at left tackle, Jeff, and some have been at center. So I think between that, not having Bucky Irving for more than half the season, not having Mike Evans for more than half the season, and Chris Godwin, it has really put Josh Grizzard behind the 8 ball. It's prevented this offense from really establishing an identity. And now that you've got 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen back, and they're trying to develop some chemistry, and you've got a newbie at right guard and Dan Feeney there, and then Mike coming back into the fold. He has yet to play with Chris Godwin. They're going to be doing that at some point in time soon.
It's amazing to even think about.
It's been a bit of a jambalaya, to kind of use a New Orleans term there for Josh Grizzard. It's basically whack-a-mole. You're trying to hit on a starting lineup every week, but it's different because of the injuries. So I'd love to see what Josh Grizzard can actually do with the full complement of healthy players. They're at least going to have 4 out of 5 offensive linemen starting, and hopefully, as we've talked about, Mike and Chris and Jalen and Emeka and Tez at some point in time with Bucky and Rashad and Sean. And, if you get Baker Mayfield to have a good game, I mean, you might be looking back at those 30-point per game outings that we saw last year.
Now I'm hungry on the mention of jambalaya. That's the thing I'm really interested to see is when they get the full complement back. And let's say it's for the Carolina game, if anything, maybe the Miami game. And if we see a 30-point per game output or a 30-point output, do we look around and say, oh, okay, this is what we've been expecting the entire time? Yeah. And you're right, Scott. It is so hard to have an offensive output that is up to the standard that you're expecting when you are shuffling around an offensive line and all of a sudden someone who's used to playing guard is having to play tackle. I don't know how much people realize the difference between playing guard and tackle is the chasm is massive. And then you're talking about being without Mike Evans. You're without Jalen McMillan for the entire season. Chris Godwin's been out, and you're having to plug and play, and everything's different, and guys are having to step up into roles. And after a while, the tape is going to be out on what a team is able to do without those guys, and all of a sudden, Emeka Egbuka is not as open as he was in week 3 when he was just 3 games into his NFL career. You need those guys to start coming back and supplementing that. So instead of having all eyes on Emeka, eyes are now on Mike. Eyes are back on Chris, and then Emeka breaks out again, and you start seeing. I'm just using him as an example, of course. Yeah. And then you start seeing the output go, and all of a sudden, it's back to 30 points per game.
Yeah.
So all of these obviously make me as a Bucs fan feel a little bit better about where the offense might be headed for the remainder of the season. I can't say that the Arizona game had me feeling the same way about the defense. So I'm going to have some questions and how that hopefully can be remedied for the back part of the season when we come back after this. Welcome back into the Stream Center here, WFLA News Channel 8, your official home for the Buccaneers. This is, of course, Bucs Bonus, and I am your host, Garrett Phillips, here with Jeff Dubrof, our Buccaneers insider, Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report. We just talked a lot about the injuries, how they might have affected this offense and how the offense has been performing, and how maybe we're going to need to give a mulligan, right, to Josh Grizzard in terms of his grades for the first season as a play caller. I don't think that the fans are going to want to give a mulligan to Todd Bowles, right, who has certainly been a little bit more seasoned in terms of play calling experience, and who has a Bucs team that I'm just going to say it's frustrating to watch them play defense sometimes, whether it be a blown coverage, a missed tackle, an assignment where, a guy is just out of position, whatever the case might be. It just feels like there is something wrong every week, and it's always something new. Is that what's happening here? What is wrong with this Bucs defense?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And certainly it was tackling. I thought the tackling was really poor on Sunday against the Cardinals, not just in the run game. I mean, we saw, Michael Carter catch a swing pass on 3rd and 4. Should have been tackled in the backfield, or at least for no gain. But Tyke Smith, Zion McCollum, Servassier Dennis all had 3 point-blank range shots at getting him down, and they weren't able to. He was able to pick up enough yards for the first down. That can't happen. But what I will say is this. And even too, that they had 2 sacks on Jacoby Brissett. Should have had probably 6 by my count, going back and watching the film from that game. Missed a lot of point-blank range sack opportunities as well. But maybe there's a little bit of a silver lining here, because there are some teachable moments out of this win, and it's always better to learn lessons from a win than a loss. But, Jeff, when you look at the tackling, they really have to get this shored up. It wasn't like Arizona killed them on the ground and only 95 yards, but they averaged 5 yards per carry, and they probably should have held them to around 60 or 70 yards. This is important because this team needs to tackle better, maybe not so much this week against the Saints and the Falcons, but you do have a Falcons team that is coming up on Thursday night that has Tyler Algier, that has Bijan Robinson. Then the next week at Carolina, you got Rico Dowdle. You've got Chuba Hubbard. It's a nice 1-2 punch from both the Falcons and the Panthers. So maybe at least Todd Bowles has their attention now. Guys, we got to shore up the tackling. Not only did we miss some sacks, we missed some opportunities to stop them in the run game. And guess what? You stop them in the run game, gives you more opportunities to get those sacks. But you got to get the guys on the ground. Tampa Bay's pass rush really exploded against the Saints in New Orleans, Jeff. 5 sacks. They only have 4 sacks over the last 4 games since the bye week, including 2 last week against the Cardinals. This might be the get-well game that the defense needs to kind of find its mojo again, because it certainly looked quite good in New Orleans in that 23-3 win.
It better be. It feels like yesterday we were talking about how they had 15 sacks over the 3 games prior to the bye week, and that seems to be a year ago. I'm still kind of worried about the secondary. You saw Marvin Harrison Jr. have some really open routes, and if Jacoby Brissett was able to hit him, we might be talking about a different game. And if you look at the schedule coming up, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, there's some good receivers on the schedule, especially the guy who's playing in Carolina, who we can talk about later, but he's not playing like a rookie right now. And I'm worried about that secondary and whether or not they're going to be able to contain the receivers coming up. You talk about the sacks, and let's not forget, the tackles. They're going to have to do some tackling this week. Tyler Shuck is not necessarily the most mobile quarterback, but he can move around a little bit.
Yeah.
He's not Baker, but give him a little bit of time. He might be able to find one of those receivers open. And if the secondary can't hold for long, the Saints might be able to score some points. You're talking about a Cardinals team, 386 total yards in that game. And if it weren't for that Jacoby Brissett interception where he tried fitting into triple coverage in that opening drive, you might be down 7-0 early, and all of a sudden the air is out of the stadium, and you're looking around going, oh my gosh, this has not been fixed. Jacoby Brissett, I believe, had 291 passing yards in that game. It's Jacoby Brissett. Yes. Luckily, it's not a murderer's row of quarterbacks coming up, but Bryce Young might have a say in that.
So it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong for either of you, but it seems like you're kind of with me where this defensive performance against the Cardinals, despite it being a win, isn't necessarily inspiring confidence in the way that defense is playing down the stretch, regardless of the quality of opponents. I guess what that brings me to then is really the next 3 weeks are incredibly important for Tampa Bay. If the Bucs win against the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers, they have clinched the division, right? That no matter what happens to any other team in the league, whether the Panthers, whoever else, they will have clinched the NFC South. So do we think, and I don't want to put everybody on a spot, we're going to pick the Saints game here in a few moments. Who wins the NFC South? Do we think the Bucs are going to lock it up here in these 3 games, or do we think Carolina has a better than good shot at stealing this crown from the Bucs?
I believe this is going to go to the final week of the season. I think Carolina probably wins in Carolina. They just seem poised to do that. Remember last year's game went into overtime. The Buccaneers were really on the ropes, if not for an Anthony Nelson forced fumble on Chuba Hubbard, when the Panthers were really in field goal range. That gave the Bucs the ball back, and they drove down the field, and Chase McLaughlin kicked the game winner in overtime to beat the Panthers. It just seems like, especially with what the Panthers were able to do against the Rams, a team that just demolished the Buccaneers, a week ago, getting an upset win, 31-28 in Carolina over the Rams. They seem poised to probably split with the Bucs this year and probably win that game in Carolina. So it might come back down to getting a win in Week 18 for Tampa Bay to clinch the division. I hope that's not the case for Buccaneer fans, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is. Tampa Bay under Todd Bowles has done a good job of winning the division, but they don't usually wrap it up early. Usually it goes down to Week 17 or Week 18, so this might be par for the course.
They like to make Garrett sweat a little bit at the end.
So does Scott after that answer. I mean, let's be honest.
What worries me is if you look at the analytics from the game against Arizona, Arizona won the success rate battle. If you take it from there, Arizona had a chance and maybe should have won that game if you take it from offensive success rate. I still come back to when it comes to Carolina, what worries me is Tet McMillan and how good he has been. He has overtaken Emeka Egbuka as the leader, as the betting odds favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. The guy has finally broken out, and this is a guy who is 6'4", 220, and he is
He's
fast.
their Mike Evans.
He is strong. Exactly. He is strong. He is athletic. And who are they going to get to cover Tet McMillan in that game? And if they can't slow him down, and Bryce Young has had moments where you remember that he's a Heisman Trophy winner. It's not often, but he does it against defenses that aren't very good. And in the case of the Rams, you talk about a cross-country travel, and maybe there's some lag there, and they're coming off an emotional win. I'm worried about what Bryce Young can do to the Bucs secondary right now.
Well, in about 2 weeks, we'll have a lot of time to talk about that. But for now, we're going to talk about the Bucs and their upcoming matchup against the Saints when we come back on Bucs Bonus. Welcome back into the Stream Center here on Bucs Bonus. Garrett Phillips here with Jeff Dubrof, and of course, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. Guys, we're running out of time here, so we're going to make this last little bit quick here. Bucs Saints. I think I already know what Scott's doing because I've read pewterreport.com where he puts a lot of his predictions up. But let's go ahead and pick this game, and we're going to start, of course, with Scott Reynolds.
I think Tampa Bay wins this game by a touchdown, 24-17. The Saints, for whatever reason, they play the Buccaneers better in Tampa than they actually do in their own home in New Orleans. But this will be a little bit of a challenge. It's not going to be an easy win because this is a division rivalry game. But I do like Tampa Bay to come out on top and get back-to-back wins and set up an interesting matchup for Thursday Night Football, Jeff, against the Falcons in those creamsicle uniforms. Can the Bucs get a win against Kirk Cousins? That's been a bit of a kryptonite issue for Todd Bowles, but that's for next week's show. But I do like the Bucs to beat the Saints this week.
Once again, you say creamsicle, I'm hungry again. I agree. Give me the Bucs in this game. I just think the way the Saints have they're battered up. You don't know if Alvin Kamara is playing, Chris Olave is out, and Tyler Shuck on the road in a game like this. I think Baker and this team find a way to get it done. They're 8.5-point favorites. I wouldn't say they're going to cover, but I think they win by a touchdown at the minimum.
All right, I love that. 3 Bucs picks here because you guys know I'm going with the Buccaneers. Scott Reynolds, thank you as always for joining us. Let us know what you guys have going on over at Pewter Report.
Yeah, check us out on pewterreport.com for all of the Bucs news and my analysis and the game coverage. And you can also check us out with our Pewter Report podcasts on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. I've got my Pewter Pulse videos as well as my Bucs Brightside videos. More great Bucs video content on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel.
Thank you again for joining us, Scott. For Jeff Dubrof, for Scott Reynolds, Garrett Phillips here on Bucs Bonus. Hopefully next week, talking about a Bucs team 2 wins away from an NFC South title. Thank you, guys.